funny is I spent the whole last year, right, going through all these different patents, talking about all these different patents that Microsoft has filed and looked at and tried to, create. And for the longest time, we always thought these patents were kind of funny looking, right? Because, okay, well, at the same time, yes, they are patents filed by Microsoft. Microsoft might just be doing this so that certain companies can't do certain things. And if they do, then they have to pay Microsoft. So the whole different process, right? Because we never in a million years thought we'd ever see a one foldable display phone. A one foldable display Surface Duo phone. Because, Z Fold 4, Z Fold 3, Oppo, all these other companies, right? The thing that made Microsoft so unique, so special, so loved by its consumer base was the fact that they said, we want to be different. We don't want to create the same phone that Samsung's creating. We don't want to create the same products that Samsung's going for. We want to make our own products and do our own thing. And that's how we operate. Well, Samsung won. Because Microsoft said, we're no longer going to be creative and different. If you can't beat them, join them. And that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing that exact same phrase being shown in real life. If you can't beat them, join them. So Microsoft is going to be releasing a one foldable display phone. So all these patents that we've been seeing possibly might happen. And here's a patent that really interests me. The reason why this patent really interests me over all the other patents is because it shows the Surface Duo keeping a 360-degree design while still having one foldable display. You can see we have a display, connect display, all one display, right? But it goes 360 degrees, which you might say, okay, well, would Microsoft go after that idea? Well, recently at the CES event, Samsung showed off a 360-degree foldable phone of themselves. So they always showed off, hey, listen, it's possible to use a 360-degree foldable display. Is it practical? No. The reason why is because, first off, when you're holding it in tent mode like this, that area right here becomes very vulnerable to everything possible. A fingernail, anything brushing up against your phone, anything. Literally, you name it, it's a problem. And even if, let's say, for example, if we go ahead and open this up, right? We have display, and then glass on the back of that. Still, when you're holding it in phone mode, you're going to have problems with possibly breaking the display. This is not a new concept. A lot of different companies have came out. When the foldable phones first came out, everyone tried to go for this exact concept you see on the screen. A 360-degree foldable phone. Every single company that tried it has failed. This is why the Oppo Find N2, the Oppo Find N5G is 180 degrees. It's why the Z Fold 5 is 180 degrees. Z Fold 4, Z Fold 3. I know Z Fold 5 hasn't come out yet. But all the Z Fold series is 180 degrees. And they're not 360. Because it won't succeed. The only way you can take care of this inside display that's very vulnerable and chance of breaking at any given moment is by making it so that you can close the phone and have the phone protected at somewhat when you're using it. Right? That's how it becomes to a point where it can't be broken. That's where you give the reassurance for a consumer, hey, listen, if you want to use this phone, you're going to have to close it if you don't want the inside display to break. But when you say, well, if you want to use this phone in phone mode, which is literally the orientation you would use it in, then this 360 degrees would not work. Because then if you have 360 degrees like this, by the way, you're most likely not going to have an outside display. You most likely won't. And the reason why is because why would you even have phone mode then? Just make it 180 degrees. If you have an outside display on the outside here, there's no reason to make this phone 360 degree phone. Because the whole point of it is to make it into phone mode. So, and if you're going to use outside display, you're most likely it's going to be very similar size-wise, especially with how we've seen with bezels and stuff like that with phones. There's probably going to be no bezels on the outside display. So there's no reason to do this unless you have no outside display. And if you have no outside display, this is not going to work. Again, I'm going to be interested to see how many people actually support Microsoft. I think this is the biggest mistake Microsoft is ever making. Personally, I think this is the biggest L they're going to be taking, because they're starting over the whole entire cycle of cell phones with this Surface Zero 3. They're completely 180ing, 360ing all the progress they have made. And they're going to make a first-gen product that will probably fail. And with the already amazing, awfully great track record, this is just not the direction I would see Microsoft should be going in any direction. But again, like I said, at the end of the day, Microsoft does what Microsoft wants to do, right? And usually their go-to response to all the criticism and hate is usually just ignore and act like no one ever said anything. Now, let's say, for example, they did make this 180 degrees and they didn't go 360 because they actually had logic to them. Could you make this work? Yeah, you could. You could make this work. You could literally have it just like a Galaxy Z Fold 4, but a bigger inside display. You can make it like an Oppo Find N2, but make it a bigger display. That's pretty much how you make it work. You could even, if you wanted to, surprisingly enough, let's say Microsoft did not want to, theoretically speaking, go with foldable display. Let's say they did try to go with a Gorilla Glass Victus display for this. Is that possible? It actually is, surprisingly enough. I know that sounds crazy to say, but it's actually possible. If you made these two panels Gorilla Glass Victus, you would have to then make this one separate panel, but then that would be 3 different panels that would all work in unison together. Whether or not this middle panel would be like kind of like a touch bar display or kind of like a, you know, a glance display of some kind, that could work. But based on what we understand, this is all gonna be one panel, so this would just be the crease. And how people react to that is another thing above itself. So this is what the crease would look like. It actually looks like it's going to be a huge, 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 huge circular circle in the middle of the actual phone when it's closed. Which, you know, people already complain about the whole camera bump. I can't wait to see what ends up happening with this, because I don't think too many people are going to be happy about this concept. Again, like I said, this is just a really bad look for Microsoft. But Microsoft, they have another, what? Probably 7-8 months before this gets revealed. So hopefully they figure this out. Hopefully they work with Oppo. I've said many times, I hope they do buy out Oppo and just, you know, work with Oppo, partner with them, make a good phone, man. This is a chance we have for someone to finally compete with Samsung and make this, you know, something special, man. This could be boosting the tech industry up 1,000 years. Microsoft, we just need you guys not to F up. You guys are watching. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.